Erol Morkoc is a Republican strategist and spokesperson for Republicans Overseas UK. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. What do you hope this visit achieves, this state visit?
What do I hope to be achieved? Well, from an American perspective, it's more of just a great honor, of course. I mean, 250 years ago, we were British subjects, and this is marking, the independence of...
Damn lucky to be so, Errol.
Well, it's certainly been an interesting ride for the Americans, and we've had our own storied history, and much of the connection between, especially the East Coast and England and Scotland, is enshrined in the names of the places. Annandale, Virginia, for example, just to give it context to a listener. So there is an overlap there. Trump's, of course, Anglophile, as you said. Also, Scotland. His mother's from Scotland. You have, she's an immigrant from the UK. I think that these type of things are going to play into the goodwill that the king is having, but it's very exciting for the American people to have the king come, and we're very excited to host him, as he's been so gracious and hosted President Trump twice and President Biden, I believe. And so because of this, I would then say, to probably get to where the meat of this conversation is going, is how can the British public leverage King Charles to their benefit? Because obviously Trump is looking to see and prodding and probing on which one of his allies are willing to get more involved in this. And while the UK has been an unreluctant ally with Starmer in some respects, you have to realize that we have the Five Eyes partnership. We have things that are bigger. And if you look at sort of historical context, the concert of Europe was destroyed by Castlereagh, Metternich, and Talleyrand. All these basically government ministers arguing. But when you put sovereigns in the room with pseudo-sovereigns like President Trump, who's the American emperor for the next 2 years, it appears to be like, perhaps you can actually drive home some sort of change.
But why should, Errol, why should this country, this prime minister, maybe even the monarch, why should this country be forced into getting more involved in a conflict which it is unbelievably clear now to see there was no plan for? There was no end game. There was no strategy to exit.
So the strategy to exit is based on the live results. America's game theory is that they can play live ball better. Now, objectively, if you were to destroy the entire U.S. Navy, 90% of our ships, the entire U.S. Air Force, just kill Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, the entire cabinet, all of our generals, everything. And then people in America were saying, come fight us in the Appalachian Mountains. You'll see, we're waiting for you. I mean, on every metric, this war has been a total degradation of the Iranian situation. And let's not forget why Iran and all of the Middle East is certainly in the situation it was. And the UK had a huge part in the fall of the Ottoman Empire,
of course,
and the rebuilding.
Around the world, in Bangladesh, they're having to work 4 days a week and ration fuel. They've declared a state of emergency in the Philippines because they've got no fuel. There are countries like South Korea that have had to instigate a fuel cap because they are so reliant on the Strait of Hormuz. We've just heard here about our reliance for gas, for oil, for helium. If you have a war where the global trading system is left in complete disarray, how can that be considered a success?
I can tell you, and I can tell you because as much as mercantile economics and modern value-driving commodities are important to everybody, the fact of the matter is, if Iran reached a nuclear bomb, the proliferation through the Middle East would have been like a wildfire. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Turkey, even though they already have NATO, and everybody around there would be producing these or receiving these bombs. The United States made a strategic decision to do this before Iran got to a position like Pakistan. You had Osama bin Laden living in a mansion next to the Pakistani West Point, and there was no punishment for that because they have nuclear bombs. Nuclear bombs change the scale. When you saw they launched ICBMs at Diego Garcia, you see their intent to use it. They can put a hypersonic missile in London. They can't put a hypersonic missile in Washington yet. Now, the situation is now, why wouldn't our allies around the world, people, by the way, who created a lot of this problem, if you want to go back in history, why wouldn't they then be interested not only in stopping nuclear proliferation, but also securing the Strait of Hormuz out of the control of basically clerical Islamists who want to wipe Israel off the face of the map?
The president is leaving that to us, it would seem. It doesn't seem like the US is going to be involved in that at all. Erol Morkoc, thank you. Republican strategist, spokesperson for Republicans Overseas UK. Callum Miller.